What if death wasn't just the end, but an interplanetary experience? Not in a fantasy, not in a dream, but in brutal, scientific, nightmarish reality. What if you had to die on every planet, and even the sun? This isn't science fiction. This is cosmic horror based on real astrophysics. And it starts now. But here's the twist. 93% of you are watching without subscribing. Hit that button because after this journey, you might not survive the next click. Let's begin with the sun. No, you wouldn't stand on it. You'd vaporize long before that. At 93 million miles, sunlight is warm. But get closer, say Mercury's orbit, and your death is guaranteed. Even with the best heat shield known to humanity, you'd last seconds. As you approach the corona, your blood boils, literally before you even scream. You're not burning, you're disintegrating, atom by atom. And the sound? Silence. Because no one can hear you in space. Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, is a scorching oven, where the temperature fluctuates between 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and negative 330 degrees Fahrenheit at night. As you step onto its surface, the sun's rays hit you like a hammer, overwhelming your senses. The heat sears through your suit, your body slowly beginning to overheat. You have minutes at best before you're cooked alive. There is no atmosphere here, no protection from the deadly solar radiation. Your body is exposed to the full wrath of the sun as you begin to sweat uncontrollably. Your skin turns bright red. The suit is not enough to withstand the temperature. You feel the heat gnawing at your insides. You stumble, feeling your organs start to cook. With every breath, the air becomes thinner. Your vision goes blurry, and your heart pounds. You're suffocating. The crushing heat is unbearable, making every second feel like an eternity. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to escape. You collapse, and your body slowly begins to deteriorate, your flesh baking under the intense solar heat. The black sky watches you silently as you take your final breath. Venus, the hellish twin of Earth, a place where the temperature is hotter than an oven. As you land, you're greeted by the unbearable weight of the atmosphere, over 90 times the pressure of Earth's. The air is thick with carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid, choking your lungs with each breath. You feel your heart racing, the unbearable pressure squeezing you from all sides. The heat is enough to melt lead, 900 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface. Your suit struggles to cope, beginning to warp under the extreme conditions. As the acid rain falls, the droplets sizzle and burn through your suit. Your helmet fills with the acrid stench of sulfur, making it harder to breathe. You stagger forward, gasping for breath, but your body is starting to feel like it's on fire. The sulfuric acid dissolves your suit slowly, and your skin begins to corrode. Each step is a battle, as the planet seems to swallow you whole. The crushing pressure forces you to the ground, unable to stand against the onslaught of the harsh environment. Your body breaks apart under the strain, the acidic atmosphere devouring you. Venus doesn't want you here. It consumes you slowly, with no escape, until you are no more. The moon. It seems like the safest of all, but it has its own challenges. The lack of atmosphere means no protection from the sun's rays, and no protection from the cold. The temperature swings from minus 280 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade to 260 degrees Fahrenheit in direct sunlight. You step out of the lander, and immediately the harsh contrast of the moon's environment hits you. The sun beats down mercilessly on your suit, but as soon as you step into the shadow, the cold is unbearable. You try to move, but each step is harder than the last. The gravitational pull is weak, making it harder to maintain balance, and your suit begins to wear down faster than expected. You feel your breath getting heavier as you strain against the vacuum of space. The moon is beautiful, but it is a dead world. You make one final attempt to get back to the lander, but the cold is too much. your suit fails, and the lack of oxygen causes you to lose consciousness. Slowly, you freeze solid, your body preserved in eternal death, surrounded by the silent dust of the moon. Mars, the red planet, once thought to be a second home for humanity. But now, it's a barren wasteland, cold and desolate. The atmosphere is thin, only about 1% the pressure of Earth's. You can't breathe here. The air is made of carbon dioxide, and the freezing winds are relentless. As you step onto the surface, your first breath is a struggle, your lungs gasping for oxygen. The temperatures are cruel, averaging around -80 degrees Fahrenheit, but they can drop even lower. You feel the cold creep into your bones, your suit doing its best to keep you alive, but it's no match for the Martian winds. Dust storms roll in, suffocating your vision and causing havoc with your equipment. You can hear the howling winds, but no matter where you go, there's nowhere to hide. With each step, you lose strength. Your breath becomes more labored. The cold gnaws at you from the inside. The suit fails slowly. The dust clogs up the filters, and the oxygen runs out. You collapse, feeling the cold tightening its grip. There's no one here to help you, no escape, only the vast emptiness of Mars slowly consuming you. Jupiter is a massive, swirling storm of gas and liquid, a world with no solid surface to stand on. As you descend into the thick clouds, you quickly realize that this is a planet designed to destroy. The atmosphere is primarily composed of hydrogen and helium, with poisonous ammonia and methane lurking at every turn. If you somehow managed to descend into the lower layers, the pressure would crush you long before you reached any solid material. Jupiter's strong magnetic field, millions of times stronger than Earth's, would send intense radiation coursing through you. Even if you managed to survive the crushing pressure and toxic atmosphere, radiation would be the silent killer. With no surface and no breathable atmosphere, your only chance of survival would be a craft designed to withstand the pressure and radiation. But even that would be a short-lived refuge. The pressure and radiation would slowly crush you, and the extreme cold of the deeper layers would freeze your body before the final, fatal blow. Saturn, like Jupiter, is a gas giant, and it would be no easier to survive here. As you approach, you can see the iconic rings of ice and rock that give Saturn its distinctive beauty. But beneath that beauty lies danger. Saturn's atmosphere is composed mainly of hydrogen and helium, mixed with traces of methane. The lack of a solid surface and its powerful winds would make landing impossible. The temperature here is extremely cold, and the pressure at lower altitudes would be deadly. Radiation levels are also incredibly high due to Saturn's massive magnetic field. If you somehow managed to survive the cold and the wind, you would eventually succumb to the toxic gases, as the lack of oxygen would suffocate you long before you could escape. Ultimately, Saturn is a place where the dangers are compounded by the lack of surface and extreme elements. A slow, suffocating death would be inevitable. Uranus is the first of the ice giants. It's a cold, distant world that would make survival nearly impossible. The temperature here hovers around -224 degrees Celsius, -371 degrees Fahrenheit, colder than anywhere on Earth. With no solid surface to land on, you would float endlessly in the thick, freezing atmosphere made of hydrogen, helium, and methane. As you descend deeper, the cold would become unbearable. Radiation from the planet's weak magnetic field would harm you, and without a way to protect yourself, your body would freeze and eventually break down in the extreme cold. With no hope of survival, your final moments on Uranus would be a slow freeze in the vast, empty cold of space. The frigid temperatures and thick clouds would soon rob you of your life. Neptune, like Uranus, is a frozen world, but it's even farther from the sun and colder. The temperature here is even lower, hovering at -218 degrees Celsius, -360 degrees Fahrenheit. Survival in these conditions would be unimaginable. Like Uranus, Neptune's atmosphere is made up of hydrogen, helium, and methane, but it also contains trace amounts of ammonia and water. The freezing temperatures and constant winds would make living here impossible. The crushing atmospheric pressure would collapse your body if you ventured too deep, while the lack of oxygen would suffocate you slowly. There's no ground to stand on, and no shelter from the endless storms. Death here would be a drawn-out process, from suffocation to freezing, as the planet offers nothing to sustain life. The final moments would be your body succumbing to the cold and pressure, drifting endlessly in the gas. Beyond Neptune lies the Kuiper Belt, a cold, desolate region filled with icy objects. It's a vast emptiness where the cold reigns supreme, and survival is nearly impossible. Beyond the Kuiper Belt, we enter the Oort cloud, a spherical shell of icy bodies. Here, the temperature is near absolute zero, and no human could survive the journey without extraordinary protection. Mars, Pluto, the red planet, considered the ninth planet, once thought to be a second home for humanity, is a frozen world. But now, on the outer edge of the solar system, it's a barren wasteland. Its surface is made mostly of ice and rock, the atmosphere with temperatures that are unbearable, only about 1% the pressure of Earth, around minus 229 degrees Celsius. The air is made of carbon dioxide, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and the freezing winds are relentless. With such extreme cold, as you step onto the surface on Pluto is almost impossible. Is a struggle. Without proper protection, your lungs gasping for oxygen freeze instantly. The temperatures are unable to cope with the averaging around negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Pluto's atmosphere but they can drop incredibly thin. You feel the cold creep into your bones, with traces of your suit doing its best to keep you alive. While the atmosphere may seem like it would offer some protection, dust storms roll in and provide suffocating your vision and causing havoc with your equipment. You can hear the howling winds, but no matter where you go, human lungs to there's nowhere to hide. Without a spacesuit or air supply, with each step, you would lose strength in a matter of minutes. Your breath becomes more labored. The cold gnaws at you from the inside. The suit's heating systems will struggle to keep you alive. The dust clogs up the filters, Pluto's surface and the oxygen runs out. Any exposed skin. You collapse almost instantly, feeling the cold tightening its grip. As you venture deeper into Pluto's there's no one here to help you. No escape. The lack of resources, only the vast emptiness of Mars would make slowly consuming a constant battle. Jupiter is a massive swirling storm of gas and liquid, being so far a world with no solid surface to stand on. As you descend into the thick clouds, you quickly realize that this is a planet designed to destroy an atmosphere. The atmosphere is primarily composed of hydrogen and helium in the world, with poisonous ammonia and methane lurking at every turn. The final moment, if you somehow manage to descend into the lower layers, darkness of the pressure would crush you long before you reached any solid material. Cold. Jupiter's strong magnetic field, remote millions of times stronger than Earth's, in our solar system, would send intense radiation coursing through the heat of the sun. Even if you manage to survive the crushing pressure and toxic atmosphere on every planet, radiation is a journey you'll never return from. But what if the next time you look up at the stars, you'll remember what it really means to survive, or not survive? This has been your interplanetary exploration. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay tuned for more what-if scenarios. This is What If Dimensions.